Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's 18 Reasons Cooking Matters at Home YouTube live event. My name is Brianna, and I will be your moderator for the day.
And I'm Austin, and I'll be your chef.
Thanks again for tuning in. A little bit about who we are and what we do. 18 Reasons is a food and education nonprofit here in San Francisco, and our mission is to empower our community with the creativity and confidence to buy, cook, and eat good food every day. And so we encourage you to really jump on in with us and chime in, shoot us a message in the chat box. Leave your comments. And we again would like to thank all of our larger community partners that have invited their participants to come on in and hang out with us for the next 45 minutes or so. And so the theme of the class today is refrigerator hacks with summer vegetables. And so summer's winding down. So we wanted to have this YouTube live event be all about summer veg as well as some refrigerator hacks, which I am excited about today. So again, thank you for tuning in with us. The recipe packet is in the description box. And now I will pass it on to Austin.
All right, I'm just gathering some ingredients that I want to show you because this here is usually kind of what my fridge looks like when I go in to get, something to cook for dinner. I've just got like some mint, like a little bit of a cabbage, like just all kinds of random stuff. And, when I'm hungry, I usually am like, okay, like what's the quickest thing I can do? But I don't really think about the creativity necessary to really make a meal out of all these like random bits that I might have in my fridge. So I'm going to show you today some recipes, kind of going off the recipes that were included in the packet, but also just kind of like freestyling with what is available to me and what I'm feeling like right now, just to try and empower people to see that, that like you don't have to stick to a recipe, you don't have to go out and buy ingredients if you don't have them. You can probably make something really great from whatever you have in your fridge. So today we're going to be making a summer vegetable pasta. I have some eggplant and some tomatoes and some other stuff that we're going to combine. And then we're also going to be making a nectarine salad, or kind of like coleslaw-y salad thing that I'm creating in my mind as we speak. So we'll see how it turns out. And along the way, I'll be telling you kind of the different fridge hacks that got me to where we are today and different stuff like that. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is finishing up my mise en place, which means everything in its place. And that's like chopping and measuring and getting everything ready to go so that we can actually start cooking. I did a lot of it beforehand, but I'm going to finish it up so we can get cooking. So the first sort of fridge hack, I was telling our other coworkers this earlier. I went to the farmer's market yesterday and I was talking to a farmer that I talk to every week. And I was mentioning that I like to bake with his fruit and make jam and all kinds of stuff. And he said, oh, well, I have all these peaches that were bruised or beat up or, not like the most beautiful for sale with the rest of the stuff. So he gave me probably like 20 pounds of nectarines and peaches and all kinds of stuff that maybe had like one bad side or like a little bruise, but were like 80% perfectly usable fruit. So that's what I'm using today. This one, I took sliced a lot of them and I put them in the freezer, but a lot of the other ones, I just cut off the bad part. So you can see on this one, it was just this little side and a little bit over here. And I put them in the fridge and I was trying to decide what to do with them. And then I thought, nectarine salad, duh. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And I'm just going to finish slicing this up so that it can go in our little salad. These ones, I don't know if you know anything about this, Brianna. You know how some stone fruit comes away from the pit and some like clings? I don't know what the difference is, but this one is definitely a cling one. So I have to kind of cut around. Normally I would cut it through the middle and then just pull it apart, but it does not work with this one. I have my little bowl of all my compost scraps here, which If you're not composting, you should, because it's also a good food hack. But sorry, I interrupted you. Do you know anything about nectarines and how that works?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the riper they are, they tend to pull away a little bit more, but don't quote me on that. But that's what
Yeah.
I feel like. I feel like the riper they are, they pull away. But it could be the type of stone fruit as well. But that is a
Yeah.
good question.
That makes sense though, because some of the ones that I got in this big bag were super, super ripe. And those were the ones that I froze as soon as I got home because I knew they weren't going to last much longer just hanging out. So these ones are a little less ripe. Still super good, but a little less ripe. So cut that up. Now I have a whole bowl of nectarines. I did one earlier for our salad. The base of our salad is going to be some of this red cabbage that I found in my fridge. I don't even know where it's from because cabbage lasts forever, but I already shredded it up. So the recipe calls for mixed greens, but I have the cabbage, so I'm going to use the cabbage. What else? Oh yeah, so I cut a tomato for a sandwich, for a bunch of sandwiches, and I didn't use them all, so we're going to use some tomato for our pasta. So I will slice it up. I could probably even do without slicing it, but we're gonna do it. I feel a lot of pressure cooking in front of you, Brianna, since you're a seasoned chef.
No pressure. No pressure at
to
all.
critique my technique if you. I know that.
No, I am here to learn and hang out and have fun.
Yeah, that's really what we're doing, is just hanging out. So if anyone else would like to critique my technique or share a tip or ask a question about anything that I'm doing, please feel free. I'm really not doing anything too beautiful with these tomatoes because they're already a little mangled. So I'm just chopping them into like pasta-y sized bits. I don't want it to be like super small, but not going to put a whole like slice of a tomato in my pasta. So this is very, very rustic, I think. That's how it's going to be. Also, there are some parts, I think this one wasn't quite ripe enough. So I'm just cutting out any pieces that maybe don't look so good. We're going to cook it anyways. So I don't think you'll notice too much if it's not the most beautiful tomato.
What a great way to use up some tomatoes. Usually I would, if I found that in my fridge, I would probably be like, what am I going to do with these? But yeah, just throw it in a salad. It makes so much sense.
Yeah. Because I always, especially right now, these big heirloom tomatoes are like huge, like literally 1 pound per tomato. So I rarely use the whole thing in one sitting. So you can see before I started cutting this was just like the top part of some tomato that I used for something else at some point. So I'm happy to be using it up. My family will be happy to get all this stuff out of our fridge because it'll take up less space. And I, of course, reuse this bag. I'll wash it out and dry it and use it for something else. So I'm just continuing on with our mise en place. I have some mint because like I showed you, I had that huge bag of mint that I was using for mojitos, but you don't need that much. So I had a lot left over. So that's going to go in our salad. What else can I do? I'm going to put this in a bowl, first of all. Keep my workstation as clean as possible. That's usually where I go wrong, is just mixing all my stuff together on my thing. I already sliced some garlic. That's going to go in our pasta. And I'm going to get a new cutting board because this one's all tomato-y. And then the last thing I have, or last two things. The recipe that we have calls for an eggplant, and I'm pretty sure they mean like what's called a globe or an American eggplant, which are those like really fat ones that we're used to seeing. But I went to the Asian market, and this was the only kind of eggplant they had, so we're going to use this. I think it's called a Japanese or a Chinese eggplant. But I've had it before, and I know that it's not like too different. So, you know, we're improvising. And I'm just going to slice it into chunky chunks for our pasta. And I'm just going to use the same knife because it's all going in the same place anyways. So I don't really care if I get some tomato on my eggplant.
I think eggplant is the one vegetable I really struggle with, just
Really?
because sometimes, yeah, you know, just because like sometimes it can come out like not watery, but like a spongy kind of a texture. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I love it when other people make it, but for some reason, when I make eggplant, it just does not come out right. So I am interested to see how watching for how to do it. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe that's the better thing. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. So
Honestly, I'm also interested to see how this is going to turn out because, like I said, I don't usually use this type of eggplant, but I've had it before, so I'm confident that it's going to be okay. I'm also doing some like really crazy cutting methods right now because this is not like a shape that I'm used to, I guess. But it is what it is, and I think it'll be good regardless.
And I think it's really important to cook with whatever you have access to right now. You know, if that's what you have access to, then yeah, I feel like with this recipe is super forgiving, and really any, you know, vegetable that's in season would be delicious in this dish.
Yeah, because we're just going to saute everything for the pasta, so you know, can't go wrong there. I forgot to get out my red onion. Give me 1 second.
No problem.
That is our last component of the pasta. And I purposefully saved this for last because although I don't care about getting, you know, tomato juice on my eggplant or anything, because it's all going in the same spot, the onion and the garlic, which I chopped earlier with a different knife, will make everything it touches taste like onion. So I just want to make sure to keep them separate because, you know, that might be a problem. I've definitely tried to slice like an apple with a knife that was just laying around, and then I end up with an apple that tastes like onion or garlic.
Oh, that was an interesting surprise, I bet.
Yeah. And you're like, it's very subtle, but it's still like, this is not right. So I'm just slicing this onion on pole to pole, I guess. So this is the stem end or the root end, stem end, and we're going across so that we end up with pieces that are all basically the same size and shape. And I'm not cutting through the root because it's helping me keep it all together. This is a type of cutting that I learned since I started working at 18 Reasons. Chef Mike taught me this because I used to cut it like this way, and then you end up with these little like half moons, but they're all different sizes. So when you do it this way, you know, they're all basically, ooh, I'm losing my onion, you know, they're all pretty much the same size and shape.
Yeah,
so
nice.
That's why we do it that way. All right, so that's everything for the pasta. I had some garlic that I chopped earlier, and I'm gonna throw some capers in there because that's one of my favorite types of pasta. It's sort of like Sicilian, like olivey, capery sort of thing. So I'm gonna set this all aside. We're gonna go over to the stove in a minute. Oh, my eyes are burning a little bit. But first, I'll combine the stuff for our salad. So because the pasta is going to be hot and we don't want to cook it and then have it sit, we're going to do that last. So first I'll assemble the salad because it can sit and just hang out while we cook the pasta. So I'm not making that much because it's probably just going to be me that's eating this. So by all means, scale it up to however big your family or how hungry you're feeling. I'm just adding our nectarine slices. I'm not going to use them all because I know that I will continue eating these as a snack later in the day. So I'm not even going to worry about that. What am I just going to do? Oh yeah, the mint. So you could slice the mint, but I'm just going to add it like this because I like, well, maybe these big ones I'll just rip in half. Because I love mint and I am down to get some big pieces going on. Do you ever put herbs in your salad?
I feel like ripping. Yeah, actually I do. I love fresh parsley in my salad and fresh mint. I feel like mint pulling or tearing is like a good way to get kids involved. Really, any recipe that requires some fresh herbs. Most fresh herbs you can either tear or pull off the stems, and so I feel like it's a great way to get kids in the kitchen if you don't feel if they're not old enough to chop or cut with a knife. Tearing is always a good
absolutely
activity for children.
So here I started the dressing a little bit. There's just some grated ginger that I already put in this jar. Recycling the jar, of course. This had something else that came in it. But once I was done with whatever it was, I kept the jar because, it's like free Tupperware, basically. And it's keeping it out of the trash. So this is about a tablespoon of olive oil and about a teaspoon of grated ginger. It's the start of our dressing. Need a spoon. Luckily, I'm right next to the dishwasher. It's got some clean stuff that I will put away later. I'm going to put about half a tablespoon of honey in there for our dressing. And another about half a tablespoon of soy sauce. So this is kind of a sort of Asian-inspired lime dressing that we're doing. So I'm also going to put some lime in here. Let's see if I can squeeze it right into there without making like a huge mess. I think likely I will just make a big mess. But yeah, I'll do it like this. We have like so many tools in my house for squeezing citrus, but I always end up using my hands. What's your favorite citrus squeezing method, Brianna?
Probably my hands because it's just one less thing to wash once cooking is done, or a fork.
A fork? Oh, you just like jab it in there, and
I usually will squeeze first with my hand. Yeah. I usually will squeeze first with my hand and then take the fork and kind of ring it around the fork to get any other juices that have been left behind. I also like to microwave my citrus for like 10 seconds and or roll it on the counter just to get the juices flowing.
I just forgot that my water was boiling away over here for my pasta, so I went ahead and added the pasta. I need to add a little bit more water now because it's been boiling for so long. But I put warm water in, I think, so it'll be okay. And it's just pasta, which is pretty much impossible to mess up. So we'll see how that goes.
I think making salad dressings in a reusable jar is probably the easiest way to both contain your salad dressing after you've made it, but also gives it a good way to shake it so you're not, it emulsifies or sets really well together. So I love making salad dressings in those kind of reusable, shakeable containers because then you can store it right after you're done using it, and then you have fresh salad dressing.
I have a million jars of different kinds of dressing in my fridge, but I always get re-inspired. So like today, I'm making a new one instead of using one that I have. Bad fridge hack. But so here we are. I'm going to give it a little taste using a leaf or a whatever you call this piece of the cabbage. I put a little salt in just before I shook it. Yeah, I like it. Soy and lime, ginger, very good. I'm not gonna dress it right now. I'll save it till the end. But we are ready to go over and start our pasta. So hang on, I'm gonna switch you over here. How's the view?
Great, thanks.
Scoot you up a little bit. All right, so here I have my pasta. I used about half a box of this cavatappi, little swirly guys, more like what I'm gonna call it. And then I'm gonna turn on my skillet to like medium and put some olive oil because we're just sauteing all of our veg together. I'll try not to make this like too boring of just watching me like move stuff around in the pot. But let's have a little chat while we're waiting for our pan to heat up.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite kitchen equipment, like a pot or a pan, or what's your favorite? What's your go-to?
My go-to, I really love like I have this like smaller Dutch oven. It's probably like I don't know, this big around, not like a ginormous pot, but it's like a smaller pot and you can like saute in it or you can make like a curry or a soup or something like that. So, oh, my pasta's boiling over. I saw it and then it happened. So don't do that, but at least it's boiling. I know
Any tips on what to do about like fridge organization? To make sure that you kind of like are able to use up what you have in there?
There are some really good videos. I was watching one recently of a professional fridge organizer who was talking about all the tips that she has. So I think for me, it's anything. I'm just adding the onions now to our oil because they're going to saute a little bit first. I think anything that is going to make it easier for me to see what's in there. Because a lot of times I'll just like forget that I have like half an onion or a lemon or whatever. And then by the time I'm actually like, oh, what is in this container? It's too late and it's gone bad. So anything that's going to make it easier for me to see what I have, I think is a tip that I try to use. Also doing some research and learning how to store vegetables so that they'll last longer. Vegetables and herbs and dairy, because a lot of times if you're not storing things correctly, you could be shortening their lifespan and you don't even realize it. So that's what I try to do. What about you? Do you ever work on fridge organization?
You know, that is one area that I really struggle with because we have a pretty large family. And so sometimes leftovers get eaten right away and sometimes they don't. And with the kids going in and out of the refrigerator, sometimes things get pushed to the back and then I don't find it till like weeks later. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we should have eaten this. I thought this somebody ate it, you know. So probably I would say what I learned also working at 18 Reasons is to label your things that you put in the fridge, leftovers, so that you know the date. And then putting things that need to be eaten first, like in the very front of the fridge, so when you open it, and things that can probably go a couple days in the back of the fridge, and kind of just rotating and doing a fridge check maybe once or twice a week. But again, something I am definitely not a pro at, but still like working on for sure.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. We should all take leadership from actual professional organizers, which I only kind of recently realized was a real job. Because they have like, it was a video of this professional organizer organizing someone else's fridge. And she put a Lazy Susan in the middle of her fridge with like all the condiments. Because I mean, her fridge looked a lot like mine, where there's just like 5 different types of mustard like in the door that I never even think about. But okay, my pasta is done, so I'm gonna do that while I'm talking. But
okay. So you've got your onions in, and we've got the garlic in, and that's sauteing in a little bit of olive oil.
Yep.
A great tip that I also heard from our chef, Chef Mike, is that we cook the firmer vegetables first. So your aromatics, like your onions and your garlic, will go in first, and then from there you move towards the medium vegetables. Oh, there it is, the eggplant, and then from there you move to the softer vegetables. So yeah, it looks like you just added in your eggplant.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna mix it all up so that I get the oil on everything. I put a little tiny pinch of red pepper flakes in.
Okay.
I think that is gonna be a nice addition. And I'm not really sure how long these eggplant are gonna take to cook, but they're like little sponges. I can already tell. See if I can show you one. It like completely soaked up the oil. So now the pan looks like it's dry, but I know that all the oil is in the eggplant. So just let it hang out. I just drained my pasta because I tasted it and it was just a little al dente, which is what we want. Oh man, I'm just realizing I forgot to save the pasta water, which is like the cardinal sin of Italian like pasta cooking. But
we won't tell. We will. We won't tell.
Once I add the tomatoes, I think they're going to be pretty juicy. So hopefully that makes up for it. I know you used to work in an Italian kitchen. Do you have any like secret hacks that you learned there?
Not really. It was in a hotel. So most of our food that we got was already prepped by our prep cooks. And so yeah, I don't really have any hacks that I could share as far as like an Italian cooking hack. Outside of using the pasta water, but you know, I'm sure if you had like some vegetable stock lying around, it probably won't give you kind of the thick starchiness that a pasta water would. But I'm sure if you needed to add in some liquid, you could probably use like a vegetable stock that you have if you had one open.
Which I'm sure we have because we always have like half a thing of whatever kind of stock in our fridge for some reason. I just covered this. I think it'll make the eggplant cook a little faster to steam it. And I'm also opening some tomato paste because I think we'll amp up the tomatoey flavor. Because like I said, I'm not really sure that, I think like half the tomatoes that I chopped up earlier are pretty ripe and the other half are not so ripe. So I think tomato paste will hopefully help us amp up the flavor a little bit. See what's going on in here. Do you think it's time to add? Yeah.
I think it looks great.
Some of the eggplant is definitely, you know, getting a little browning going on. I think I'm going to add the tomato to get it kind of reducing down and get the juices coming out. So in goes the tomato that we roughly chopped earlier.
Well, and it sounds great, and I'm sure it smells great. You know,
I'm going to add some salt and pepper. I always forget that the salt will be on this like ginormous setting, and then I dump like way too much salt. So easy on it. And I'm also going to add just like maybe like a tablespoon of tomato paste. I probably should have added this maybe at the very beginning. I don't know. What do you think?
I think now's a good time. I usually tend to add any sauce or thickening agent after the vegetables have had some time to soften. That way the flavors are all meld a little
I
bit
also
better.
added a little bit of water to thin out the tomato paste. So now I think it's definitely starting to look more like a sauce, like, you know, we'd recognize a pasta sauce, which I'm happy about. I'm gonna try a piece of eggplant to see how close it is to being done. I can definitely tell that the skin of this Asian eggplant is like way more bright purple than the ones that I'm used to, which is kind of fun. Yep, definitely cooked enough. And the tomatoes like don't even really need to cook because they're, you know, soft already. So I think we're like pretty much done, which is amazing because I feel like that took like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was a very simple, under 30-minute pasta. Wow.
Yep, I didn't go to the store, like just all stuff that I had or stuff that I had picked up earlier in the week. I'm adding a little pepper. Let me grab some other spices, see what I got here. I'm looking for, well, I was looking for my oregano, but I can't find any. So I'm gonna add some dried basil. Just a little bit. I do have some fresh basil, but I think I have other plans for it. I'm doing a lot of caprese salads in my house.
Okay.
So I'll save it for that. And now I'm gonna stir in.
For folks that may not be familiar with what a caprese salad is, would you explain
Oh yeah,
about what that is?
Well, it's called salad, but it's like just sliced tomatoes, big leaves of basil, and big fat slices of mozzarella cheese. And you eat it like, you know, all together. And when the tomatoes are so good in the summer, it's just so simple. So you don't even have to cook it at all. Just a little bit of slicing. One of my favorite summer foods.
Nice.
So I just added the capers, which a lot of people I think are unfamiliar with or are opposed to capers, but they're one of my favorite ingredients, especially for Italian food. They're like vinegary, salty little, are they like flower buds or something? I don't even know what they are originally, but they're really good and everyone should try them, I promise. And now I'm just gonna add my pasta directly to this. And this is where I would add a little bit of pasta water to make the sauce a little more loose and get everyone getting to know each other. But I think it looks okay, actually. So I'm not too worried about it. And I'm all, yeah, it smells super good. Once I added the capers, it like whole new dimension. I'm on really low heat right now just to kind of keep everything warm while I'm combining. And then I'm gonna get a fork to taste to make sure that I got my seasoning correct. Move this stuff out of the way. All right, let's give it a little taste. Try and get some eggplant and some onions and stuff. Oh, come here. These little noodles are like running away from me. I think it is perfect. So I'll turn off the heat. Get a little bowl so we can go back over to the counter. Get my big spoon. And make sure I get all the veg. You could absolutely put more vegetables or less vegetables. Well, I wouldn't recommend less vegetables, of course, but you can play with the ratio of noodles to veg if you want it to be more hearty. Of course, you can put whatever are your favorite kind of vegetables. So it's really a choose your own adventure. We're going back over here. And let me clean up a little bit. So I have the salad that we made earlier. I'll go ahead and dress now. Yeah, we're combined. We're good. And just do a little drizzle. Always, put less and then taste, because it's easier to put more in than it is to try and take dressing off the salad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grabbing some utensils here so I can toss it. I usually like to put something that is crunchy in my salads. So I might try and go find some like peanuts or some, I think the recipe calls for sunflower seeds, but I didn't have any. So if I were to add something crunchy, I would probably do peanuts. I even have my family has this coleslaw recipe that you take the noodles from Top Ramen and crunch it up and put it in there. And it's like super good. So add something crunchy. Might put some fresh parsley on my pasta, but I didn't chop it yet, so that might be a later addition. But there we go. As you can see, that took like 30 minutes, and now I have a super beautiful fresh lunch, less stuff in my fridge. Gonna eat a lot of vegetables, which are good for you, and it's just like a win-win all around. So I wish you could be here to eat with me, Brianna. I have enough for many more people than just myself, but there we go. That's pretty much it.
Well, thank you, Austin, for leading us through our fridge hack summer pasta, veggie, and salad recipe today. It looks amazing. Somebody needs to go ahead and invent smell-o-vision so that we can participate and our senses can be engaged with the smell. It looked great, looked fabulous. Thank you again so much. And I'd like to thank all of y'all for tuning in with us today and spending your lunch hour with us. Again, we're 18 Reasons. We would love for you to subscribe to our channel. We would love for you to join us. We have tons of nutrition tips and other videos, fun videos for the kids and for the family on our YouTube channel, our page. So again, we want to thank you. You can post, if you've made this recipe today, you can post it on our Facebook page or our Instagram page at 18 Reasons. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Please stay safe and be well. Thanks, Austin.
Bye.